Well, these are 3 of the fish I got in trade from Mike to try breeding. Oh, I need to clean my glass. Tip on cleaning your glass, don't ever use Windex. Just trying to wipe it usually leaves it streaky. Windex and cleaners can get into your water. What you can do is use a light mix of vinegar and water, and it will leave it squeaky clean, but won't be toxic in minute in your water like glass cleaners would be. So these are 3 really nice short-tailed Ryukins. I know at least for sure one's female because she released eggs on me while I was checking them. Not a big fan of the short-tailed, but these are really pretty, and I thought, hey, why not just try breeding them? And if not, they can, after quarantine, I have separate water changing systems, even though these tanks are right next to each other. But they can eventually just go in with my Ryukins I've had for, I want to say 3 years now? 2.5? I can't remember. So if I don't end up like breeding them, they'll still make really pretty display fish. I did also get 2 Orandas that are doing well in their quarantine. I'll show them at a later date, but on a sad update, I am not sure if these 2 were bottom sitting when I got them, because Mike admitted they were in the back of his fish room and he was only getting to once weekly 90% water changes, and I just took them from the bag into a bag, so I didn't see them swimming. But I did lose the one, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't anything to do with Mike. And so, learning lesson for me, I brought about 70 babies in trade to Mike, and brought them in what I always do, which is like 30 or 40 gallon totes, 3/4 of the way full, with the lids on them and air bubblers going. So I dropped the baby fish off, got my bags of fish, and I didn't want these guys to pinch in the corners as I didn't have them double bagged. So I put them in the totes to float, which would keep the corners unpinched. Took off for home at about 5:30, which I guess is rush hour in Minneapolis. And unfortunately, on my drive home, somebody slammed on their brakes, and I had to slam on my brakes so hard I actually broke my brakes. My car squeals and grinds now, and I've got to get it into the shop. But that's just how hard I had to slam on my brakes to keep from hitting this person in front of me. And unfortunately, both tubs in the back literally lifted off and flung forward, and I had 60 gallons of water dumped all over in my car. I had water pouring out on the freeway. I had like 3 inches of water floating back and forth in my van, and their bag came flying forward and hit my seat. So, could their swim bladders have been damaged? Probably. Could the reason I lost the other big one and the reason this one is flat abdomen stuck on the bottom could be some high nitrates that build up at Mike's, but could be a damaged swim bladder. And unfortunately, you know, it's one of those sad learning experiences I've got to figure out going forward when hauling fish and when bringing fish home, how to do so safely so this doesn't ever happen again. Because I was going to breed these guys. Mike was pretty sure I had a male and female, and I don't even, you know, he gave me such a good deal. He took my fish in trade. You know, I helped him set up, I helped him break down. These guys were the size, you know, this one you can't tell, but they were both the size of grapefruits. Huge. I can't even imagine, because he says, you know, it's hundreds of dollars for him to get a cooler shipped in, and they couldn't have packed very many fish at this size, and how much he spent on them. You know, I probably easily would have spent $500 in an online auction for each of them. And the hope was I could breed them, and now it's just not going to work out that way. So I've got him in quarantine. I'm going to, you know, see how he pulls through quarantine. But he might end up just a special needs fish in one of the 300-gallon tubs. So it's sad, but unfortunately it's one of the parts of fish keeping where crap happens and I can't fix it. I can only move forward and learn from it. So I am going to meet Jennie. I'm bringing her 5 or 6 of my favorite metallic butterflies and my favorite red and white that I bred. You know, I gave tons of my babies to Mike, so I had only picked a select amount. So she might not want one of them. She, you know, I can always tell her, you know, next year. But I'm gonna bring my metallic purpley one that I love and really hope she likes that one. And meet her next Sunday. I don't know if we get to take video, but I'll try to if we do. And then finish setting up my fish room. I have a couple more tanks to put together, upper and lower level, splitting up my fish in my plans for breeding and my plans, you know, just for display. And I'm gonna do slower at breeding. I've been holding, you know, I really do believe it is the Repashy steamed egg mix that really kicked up breeding. I don't know if it was that extra protein and that mixed together. Because when I was feeding that regularly, I had spawning every week, and I've been holding off and doing, you know, just a little bits of just plain Repashy and the omega-1 and brine shrimp, and I really haven't had, well then it's too warmer too, but I really haven't had any spawning activity. But I'm going to plan more, try and do just one spawn at a time, grow out in my custom 120, and go slower because I really overloaded myself with the number of babies I tried to keep up with earlier in the year. So, yep, it is what it is.